Hey everyone, welcome to another one of my LinkedIn live events. Today's topic is a very requested one. A lot of corporate professionals have reached out to me and they have asked me to speak a little bit more about how to speak confidently, specifically at work. And that is why today we'll be talking about communication confidence, which is how do you actually speak confidently at work. So before we begin our live session, I'm just going to quickly see if my audio and video is fine. And before that, if you are someone who's attending my live event for the very first time, a very warm welcome. I'm Rianshi and I'm a life coach by profession, and I specifically help professionals like you overcome confidence issues as well as anxiety issues, right? Now, how do these live events work is that I'm going to be explaining to you a topic in depth, and in the end, you can ask me as many questions as you want and any question that you want. And if by any chance you are unable to attend this live event fully, there is no problem. The recording of it is visible on my profile as well, so you can also watch that. However, I highly recommend attending it live because the energy of when I'm directly talking to you is just much different than you watching a recorded version. And if you are who is very into personal growth and personal development and you have been looking to transform yourself, you're very welcome to attend one of my trauma healing boot camps called 4-day childhood trauma healing boot camp. You can see this pink line right here. So you can just DM me boot camp and I will add you to the group. Okay. Now let me just see if I'm audible and visible. Okay, I think yes, I am. Great. If you see me looking down, it's either I'm checking the questions you're sending me or I have like pointers that I write down so that I don't forget anything because I am a forgetful person. All right. Now, before we talk about how do we really communicate confidently or communication confidence in general, let's try to understand communication and confidence separately. Okay, what do they really mean? Because often these are very misunderstood terms. In fact, one of the most shocking things for me when I started out coaching around confidence as a life coach was that people used to think that confidence is fake it till you make it, that you have to be loud, you have to be extroverted, or you have to paint a picture, you have to always try to pretend to be happy, try to pretend to know everything. And that's not what confidence really is. Neither do most people who think they have a communication problem actually have a communication problem. So today I'm going to be busting a lot of myths that you have around communication confidence. So first, let's try to understand what exactly does confidence mean. Okay, confidence is nothing but inner sense of safety. Okay, it is this deep belief that you have about yourself, which says that no matter what is happening outside of me, I am always going to be by my side. I will always be able to figure out wherever I am, whatever situation I'm in. I am never going to come to a point where I will feel that, okay, I'm stuck. I will always figure it out. That is what confidence is. Okay. And confidence is of two types. One is the skill confidence, which is the world is obsessed with. When they say that, you have to practice something and that's how you become confident, that's called skill confidence, right? That's a very obvious kind. But what I'm talking about is natural confidence. It's when you are walking, talking, showing up every single day in a way where you're just so sure of yourself. And that is a belief. And belief lives inside of you. You have to do absolutely nothing to earn it. Okay. And you as a person should always focus on natural confidence rather than skill confidence. The reason is, when you have that innate belief that no matter what happens, I will always be able to figure it out, you will take more chances, you will take more risks, and as a result of it, your success area and your chance of succeeding big is going to be much higher than a person who thinks that I will have to first practice, I will have to first wait, I will have to first, gain someone's validation, some certificate, some degree to feel good about myself. A person like that who just has skill confidence is not going to go much far in life because they are always waiting. Okay. What we want to target is natural confidence, when no matter how challenging the situation is, you have this deep belief that I am always going to be by my side. I will always be able to figure it out. Right? That is what confidence is. Now let's come to communication. What exactly is communication? Communication is nothing but the art of being able to articulate what is going on in your head and speak it out. That's it. There is no barrier for language. There is no barrier for how loud you are, how quiet you are, or what words you're using. That's like none of that matters. Communication is nothing but being able to articulate your thoughts, being able to communicate your thoughts. That's what communication is. And the thing is that a lot of people think that they have a communication problem when in reality they have a confidence problem. Now, what do I mean by this? Anytime someone comes and tell me in a clarity call that Rianshi, I'm struggling with communicating, I always ask them one thing. When you talk to your parents, when you talk to your best friends, do you have this communication problem? And 100% of the time, their answer is no. And then I ask them, when exactly are you facing this communication problem? Then they tell me that in front of my boss, in front of my manager, when I just switched my job, my manager has just changed, and suddenly this problem has come up. And then I tell them, and I'm going to tell you too, that's not a communication problem, that's a confidence problem. Communication problem is when you are unable to actually articulate your thoughts and speak. If you can speak very fluently, if you can speak amazingly to certain people in your life, but when it comes to certain people you start stammering, you become tongue tied, that's not a communication problem, that's a confidence problem. So don't confuse the two. Why I'm saying this? Because I have had people who have come to me telling me that, Rianshi, we've taken courses after courses on public speaking, we've practiced a lot, still I go in front of a client and I freeze. I once had a client who would practice for days, and every time he had to go, and he was very good at his work also, by the way. He had 20 years of experience, he was very good at what he did. Every time he would have to go to do this group meeting that he had to do with all of his managers and his team as well, he would freeze. It is like the words have gone away from his mind. It's not a communication problem. That client of mine took God knows how many public speaking courses, worked with I don't know how many people for communication. The only way you're going to solve your problem is you first diagnose whether the problem that you have is right or not. When you start diagnosing the wrong problem, when you don't even ask yourself deeper questions that is it really my problem, then you're going to be trying to solve a wrong problem, right? So the reason a lot of people face communication issues again and again and again is because they don't have a communication problem. It's because the diagnosis of the problem is completely wrong. My client was a classic example of that. He had joined Toastmasters, went to so many this groups, did whatnot, yet his problem was still the same because he did not have a communication problem. If you can come to me in my clarity call and you can speak to me, you don't have a communication problem. Okay, it's a confidence issue. Now, coming back, we understood what is communication and what we understood what is confidence, right? Now, what exactly does it mean to communicate confidently? Being able to communicate confidently means that you're able to speak your mind without second guessing yourself. It has nothing to do with the language you're using. It has nothing to do with how you're looking. It has nothing to do with what context you're speaking in. For example, okay, let's say I'm speaking to you right now. I may lose some words. I may forget something. But I'm confident enough to tell you that, you know what, let me just go back a little bit. I forgot something. Because I'm not concerned with what other people are thinking of me. I'm not concerned with what you are thinking of me. I'm only concerned with what I have to speak, right? I may make mistakes, right? I may, let's say, forget something. Let's say someone may ask me a question of which I cannot give a complete answer. So I will tell them directly that, you know what, this part I can answer, but for this, I think we're gonna have to have a private conversation, right? Or maybe I'll tell them that, you know what, let me just text you tomorrow because I need to think about this. Because I'm not concerned with what the other person is thinking about me. So, one more thing to know is that confident communication doesn't mean that you never make a mistake. It doesn't mean that you're sure of yourself all the time. It doesn't mean that you know the answers to everything. Of course not. You're not Wikipedia, you're not Google, right? But confident communication is feeling so secure about yourself that even if you make a mistake, you're able to tell the other person without making it a big deal. When you're able to tell the other person that, look, this is something that I know, this is something I don't. Can you give me some time to get back to you? Or that, you know what, let me back up a little bit. I think I got a little nervous and I forgot some of my words. Are you able to say that out loud? Are you able to communicate to the person, look, this is what I'm feeling, and I think I want to repeat that. And the funny thing is that the other person does not really care. When you tell the other person that, you know what, can I back up a little bit, I want to repeat that part again, the other person is not going to think, oh my god, this person is stupid. They're not going to think that, because people are only focused on the outcome. They're not focused on how you're bringing the outcome. Okay, at least not always. So that is what communication confidence is. It's feeling so safe in your body, so secure in yourself, that not only do you completely trust yourself, you allow yourself to make mistakes. That is what confident communication is. And if you ever go and if you ever see communicators that you really like, communicators you would want to hear for hours and hours and hours, they are not people who are always, you know being right all the time, or who have the answers to everything. They are the people who are most comfortable in the skin, right? Because, see, this is not a TV show. Okay, we are not rehearsed with scripts all the time. Even today when I'm doing this live with you, you may ask me a question I may not know the answer to, and that's okay. That's what real life is. But do I feel confident and secure enough in myself to tell you that, you know what, let me get back to you on this? Or, you know what, I don't know the answer to this right now. Can I answer this to you tomorrow? Can you say that? That's what confident communication is. And no amount of preparation is going to make you come to this. This is another myth that I want to bust for you. See, we live in a world where people, instead of feeling secure about themselves, they focus on perfection. And please understand, perfection only comes from a place of insecurity. Perfection is literally a dress for shame. When you are deeply ashamed of yourself, you will try to be perfect. Confidence is not about that. Confidence is being able to tell people that, yeah, I made a mistake, but I'm fixing it, or that I'm on it, without feeling an ounce of shame. And the funny thing is, when you are that comfortable with yourself, other people also trust you. Because you must know that people trust you not through your words, but through your energy. And when you feel deeply secure about yourself, the other person is automatically going to trust you that, you know what, this is someone I don't have to doubt about. This is someone I don't have to be judgmental about, because you're that secure in yourself. It is only the insecure people who give that vibe out, that energy out, that, yeah, don't trust me. And that comes when you're very focused on perfection. So, coming back to the topic, as I was saying, that people are very obsessed with perfection, and that is why you will often see a lot of, communication courses telling you to practice, 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 practice. Practice what? Practice the pitch, right? But you must understand that when you are in a real job, okay, and I'm speaking to people who see themselves going further up, either in the corporate ladder, or even in the business, things don't go according to how you want always. It's not like a perfect little chocolate pack that you can just box, and you've spent months and months boxing, and that's exactly how the person is going to open it. That's not how it works. I have coached, I don't know how many people, I've lost count now. Even today, sometimes a client of mine may ask me a question, and I'm comfortable telling them that, you know what, this is what the answer to this is, but I think there's something I can add more. So let me get back to you once again. Similarly, when you are a corporate professional, you must understand that perfection is not what you should be targeting, neither should you be obsessing about practice. Yes, of course, practice is the obvious thing. Practice 2 or 3 times. But what you need to develop is self trust. Because when it comes to communication at work, people are not interested in how, again, neatly you have, bow tied your communication. This is not class 10th. Okay. This is not MUN. This is not you reciting a poem. So you have to understand that you can't come from a place that, okay, I'm a child, I'm just going to recite everything. Somebody's going to ask me things, and I'm just going to ditto read to read, ditto, I'm going to read line to line back to them. This is not school. Okay. Your communication, and more importantly your credibility, relies on how much self trust do you have. Are you able to think on the spot? Are you able to rely on your intuition? That is what confident communication at work is about. It's a result of, yes, knowing what you do, right, being able to answer the question, plus relying on your intuition, trusting your wisdom. There are so many times where my clients ask me something where I can give them a tool, but I don't do it. I often ask myself that what is my body telling me? What does this client really need? Similarly, when you are talking to your boss, when you're talking to your manager, one answer is going to be the, something that you think is technically correct, but your intuition will always tell you something else. And you know what? Maybe my manager needs to hear something else right now. That's intuition. And confident communication at work is a culmination of this. It's preparation, yes, 30% preparation, but 70% intuition. And intuition comes from self trust. It comes from when you deeply trust yourself and your wisdom and your experience. Okay? It doesn't come from just reciting tools and always looking for a book. Oh my God, how do I answer this? Because 70% of the time, someone is going to ask you a question that you have no idea about, that you've never read. In that moment, you should have the ability to use your wisdom, the existing information you have, and give the answer that the now I had an internet issue a minute before. Okay, so if you missed a few seconds, I can't go back because I don't know when the internet got lost. So I'm just gonna go with the flow. By the way, this a classic example of a curveball. Sometimes you may be in a meeting, and sometimes let's say you're communicating something really important, and a curveball may happen. Maybe you listen to a bad news before going into a presentation. Maybe you suddenly feel sick. Maybe someone says something in that moment. How you handle the situation is going to tell the other person as to whether they can trust you or not. Because that is what most amount of corporate communication is about. Communication at work in general is about, are you able to trust yourself? Because your self trust is what the other person is going to anchor on. See, people don't trust you because you have a degree or because you have a certain certificate or anything. Even people don't even trust your experience. You must have seen that some people are able to command trust very easily, even if they're new in the organization or even if they're just starting out work. Whereas other people take years and years, even then they're not able to command respect, or not respect, trust. What's the difference? The difference is that people who are able to command other people's respect very easily, they're able to gain other people's trust very easily, is because they're very sure of themselves. They allow themselves to be vulnerable. They allow themselves to say to other people that, yeah, I made a mistake. That builds trust. But then there is another person who maybe has, let's say, 15 years of experience, but he's very afraid of making a mistake. Every time he comes in front of his boss or manager, he starts to shiver, he starts to stammer, he loses his trail of thought. That gives the idea to the other person that this is someone who's not sure of himself. And then this results into you either getting opportunities easily or you're not getting opportunities easily, right? Okay. Now, what do we really lack, like when it comes to communication skills? uh, what are the signs that, okay, you have a communication problem? So one is that you're unable to form sentences. You're unable to actually communicate what you want to speak. You are unable to comprehend what you're thinking and what you want to speak. So maybe there is a gap. So for example, let's say, I want my idea of telling you that, you know what, there was a glitch a while back while I was doing this live, is to make it seem like it's not a big deal. But when I'm speaking, I sound very apologetic. Let's say I say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so stupid. I will never do this again. So what is happening? My idea of what I want to translate to you is different, whereas what I'm saying is different. So that is a sign of, yes, you may have a communication problem. More than communication, you may have a comprehension problem, right? Second is having an actual language barrier. So for example, let's say that you are someone who has studied in a Marathi medium or Bengali medium, or maybe you've always spoken French or you've always spoken Spanish, but now you're in a company where the most common medium of communication is English, and you don't feel very comfortable in English because, again, you don't know English very well. That is a communication issue. So what do you do there? You go learn English, right? Then next is when you speak too fast or speak too slow. So often again, people who are speaking too fast are usually people who are thinking too fast. And I was a very prime example of that. In fact, if you check some of my live events before, in almost all of them, I check in with people that am I speaking too fast? Because I think too fast, so sometimes it comes off like that. So that was an actual communication problem. So what did I have to do? I had to learn how to speak a little bit slowly. And even now, I'm not there yet. I'm still practicing it. I'm still learning that just because my thoughts are pretty fast does not mean that I also have to speak that fast, right? Then next is having no practice in speaking at length. So what do I mean by this? So for example, you are someone who's not used to giving like 30-hour meetings or 40 or 45, not 30-hour, 30-minute. Maybe you're someone who's not used to speaking for 30 minutes at length or 45 minutes at length, right? So for instance, you've just been promoted to a leadership role, and you require to do one-on-ones, and you are required to do stand-up meetings, and you're supposed to present things, but you're not used to speaking at length. So again, what this requires is practice. These are real communication problems. None of in none of the incidents I've mentioned stammering. I have not mentioned that you get afraid. I have not mentioned that you are okay speaking with some people but you're not okay with other people. I've only mentioned very real communication problems. If there is fear attached, if there is some emotion attached, if you start feeling like I'm not good enough, if you start feeling like, oh my god, I have to prove something to other people, that's not a communication problem, that's a confidence problem. Okay, so let's move forward. Before I do, I'm just gonna quickly check in if there are any questions so far. Uh, Not question really. Um, I think I've just gotten people agreeing with what I've said, so not exactly questions. So let's come back to the topic. Now, I have told you what exactly is a communication problem. So now let's try to understand what is confident communication in reality. Okay, confident communication is about alignment, not just words. So let's take an example. Okay, let's say that I want to tell you that I'm good at what I do. Okay, and I don't actually feel it, right? I don't feel I'm good enough, but I want to tell you that I'm good at things. So what I will do, I will go on internet, I will learn fancy words, I will learn I'm excellent at this, and I'm sophisticated, I'm time bound, I'm a perfectionist, I'm this, I don't know, all the fancy words that people use, right? Let's say I do that. When you speak to me as a human being, you are very energetic. Okay, so you will be able to sense that I'm trying too hard. You will automatically be able to sense that I'm overcompensating. So for example, let's say that you ask me a very simple question, that Rianshi, what are the kind of people you work with? If I'm confident, I will simply tell you that usually I work with corporate professionals, but my clients also include business people and students. That's the answer. But let's say I'm underconfident about myself, and the moment you ask, and what are the kind of people you work with, let's say that I become insecure, then I'm going to overcompensate. Then I'm going to tell you, oh yeah, I work with everyone, I work with this age group, that age group, I do this, I do that, I've been working for this long, this is the results I've driven, and yada yada. The moment I start doing that, you're going to be able to sense that this is someone who's trying to prove herself, right? So this is a subtle difference that a lot of people don't understand. Confident communication is not about using jargon. Okay, one of the reasons why people, or again digressing from the topic a little bit, one of the reasons why it is so easy to spot when someone is using artificial intelligence on LinkedIn these days is because it's full of jargon. You can literally see it, and it's so comical, right? The writer doesn't understand behind who's using AI that they're losing respect. It's the same thing that applies to you when you just rote learn, right? When you rote learn jargon, when you're just using complicated words to sound smart, the other person can sense it. because people are not stupid. People are very energetic by nature. People can sense when you're being genuine, and people can sense when you're being fake or when you're trying too hard, right? So you must understand that it's about what you think and feel about yourself. Your communication is about what you think and feel about yourself, not about the jargon. A person who's deeply underconfident but has learned a lot of fancy words is always going to make a fool of themselves because they will always try too hard. Whereas someone who may not use a lot of fancy words but is sure of the value they bring to the table, they will listen to the question and they will only answer to the point. They don't feel the need to prove themselves. You understand, right? So you must understand that confident communication is about alignment. It's about what you think and feel about yourself. And that's a classic example of a speaker that you would love listening to. If you go out there and you look at some people, you will find that people you love listening to are usually people who are calm, people who are sure of themselves, people who are not rushing, people who are able to think and feel whatever you are saying in a very coherent manner, right? Whereas people who are always interrupting others are always trying to prove themselves, and you will be able to see a sense of, oh my god, this person is sort of fake, or this person is clearly not sure of themselves, this person is clearly not confident. So these are subtle differences you must know, right? It's about what you think and feel, not about the fancy words you use. Now, alignment is feeling safe in your body, feeling secure about who you are as a person, and feeling that I'm sure of who I am, right? When you don't feel this, is when you're out of alignment, in which is what results into communication problem. So I'm going to take a few examples of that, okay? So, very first example is some people tend to only fear authority figures in their life, which means that whenever they're in front of their bosses, whenever a new client is around, whenever it is the managers, the leadership, every time they come across them, they suddenly become tongue tied. They feel like I've lost my trail of thinking. I don't know how to speak anymore. I forgot what I was going to say, or they will avoid communication, or they will become very submissive. They will become a yes man. They will say yes to everything what their manager is asking or the boss is asking. But when it comes to their juniors, when it comes to their colleagues, they're very confident, they're very assertive, they're able to speak their mind, they're not afraid. Do you think this is a communication problem? It's not. But 99% people think this is a communication problem. I have had people tell me in my clarity calls, Rianshi, I have a communication issue. And whenever I ask them, when exactly do you experience this? A lot of them have told me this, that when I'm in front of a manager, or let's say when you've suddenly, switched a job and you've gone into a new environment, suddenly you have a communication issue, you stammer these days, you have been put into another team and you're thinking 5 times, okay, should I speak this or not? It's not a communication issue. Communication issue is when you're unable to translate. This is a confidence issue. This is when you think less of yourself, right? We'll take another example. Stammering only in public speaking. You're okay with your one-on-ones. When you're talking to someone in a one-on-one meeting, you're great at it. When you're even talking to, let's say, 2 or 3 people, you're good at it. But let's say there are 20 people and you suddenly start stammering. Is that a communication issue? No, it's not. This is your body going into alert mode when it's in front of a group of people because it thinks that it is in danger. So this is not a communication issue. This is your body not being exposed to new things. And second, you telling your body that yeah, you need to be conscious. Most public speaking fear is not because there is a crowd or there is going to eat you. It's because you think that you have something to prove to other people. Whereas if let's say only one person were to talk to you, you're very comfortable doing that. So this is what? Not a communication issue. This is what you think and feel about yourself. Again, I'll tell you a real life example. I had a client who recently like moved to a leadership position. He's around like 34, 35. And he told me something very interesting. So he came to me that, you know what, Rianshi, I'm facing communication issue and I've practiced this, I've practiced that again. Took a lot of courses. Then I asked him that, is this everywhere? And he's like, no, when I talk to my teammates one on one, it goes so smooth, I feel so confident, and I have such a great rapport. But whenever it comes to speaking in the group, I feel like I can't do it. This was not a communication issue. When we went into, deeper history, when I coached my client around, we found that he was someone who was made fun of growing up when he tried to speak in public, right? And because of that, he has always had that fear that people are going to make fun of me if I'm in a group. So we had to work on that, and we had to remove that fear. And when we did that, my client became automatically confident because he was saying the same thing, right? It's not like just because a person is in a group, somehow they're going to be attacked. But the fact that your body goes in an alert mode in a group should tell you this is not a communication issue. It's just that your body has gone from feeling safe to now feeling unsafe, right? Okay, so someone has mentioned, when you're in front of a buyer, think of yourself as a product, explain your benefits and specification, including your capacity, strength, achievements, just as a product is marketed. And okay, so it is only 30% of the work what you've mentioned. Exactly, what I've told about that. When you do this, what you're doing is you are presenting yourself as something. But people are not stupid. If you're deep down underconfident and you still do this, what is going to happen is that the other person is going to sense it. The other person is going to be able to sense your insecurity and underconfidence. So trying to put a shiny package on yourself in an interview, yes, it works. But if you are someone who works at a higher level, you, of course, you understand that is not how it works. Trying to polish your resume or trying to learn jargon is not going to cut it. The only thing that's going to cut it is feeling very secure about yourself, because people can sense it. Specifically when you want to go to higher roles, authority roles, leadership roles, then you must feel good about yourself, feel secure in yourself. Only and only then will you actually be able to come across as a person who can lead, right? So focus on packaging yourself 20-30%, yes. 70% will always be how you feel about yourself. Because you can, as I said, right, packaging is a little bit like, yeah, I want to prepare everything. But when you do the actual job and when people actually start evaluating you and you're put in the spot, the jargon is not going to help. Okay, only thing that will help is, can people trust you? And people can only trust you when you trust yourself, because people can sense it. When you are anxious, people can sense it. When you're sure of yourself, people can sense it. Now, taking another example, so this is a little bit related to social anxiety, where you suddenly start stammering when you're meeting new people, right? When, let's say, you're put into a new team, or maybe you've just changed your job, or maybe you have moved to a new neighborhood and you want to make new friends, and suddenly when it comes to your new people, you start stammering. You don't know what to talk about, and you don't know, you feel very conscious. You feel that, oh my god, what is this other person thinking of me? Am I looking good enough? And yada yada yada. Again, people think this is a communication problem. They learn line openers. They learn, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. What they don't fix is the root cause. What makes you feel not good about yourself? That is a question you need to be focusing on, because that is the root cause. Tomorrow, when, let's say, you have to meet new people, let's say you are in a leadership position, you have to meet clients, you have to meet, other team members, you have to meet other managers. Are you going to do this? Are you going to always just rote learn everything and go speak like a parrot? Because a lot of people do. And unfortunately, it gives a very bad impression. It tells the other person that your personality is not that developed. So don't focus on simply parroting and learning things. Focus on like solving the real problem. What makes me feel not good about myself in front of other people? What am I actually insecure about? That is what you need to fix. When that is fixed, then there is no problem at all, no? Because I have seen people being comfortable with their own friends, but when it comes to meeting new people, they become uncomfortable, they become rigid, they feel conscious. What is this? Not a communication problem, obviously, because if it were to be communication problem, it would be consistent everywhere. They should have been feeling nervous everywhere, but they're not. It's only with new people. So you must fix the root cause. And another taking another example, only forgetting words and phrases or things you have to speak when you are, in front of your authority figures, or when you're giving presentation in a meeting. Whereas if you have to, let's say, explain it to a colleague or a junior, you are very fine with it. What is that? Again, not a communication problem, not that you're forgetful. It's just that in that moment, You, because you enter into this survival mode where you feel, oh my god, I'm in danger, I'm in danger, your body becomes very stressed. And a very big consequence of being stressed or feeling like I have to survive this situation, you forget things. Because literally what is happening when you're in survival mode, right? When someone has to go talk to their boss and they enter into the survival mode, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, what's happening? Literally, biologically speaking, the blood from your brain goes to your limbs. That's what a survival mode is. So that is why when you're stressed, you forget things. And then you blame it on communication. Then you say, oh my god, I'm forgetting things, I'm old, I don't know how to talk to my boss, and yada yada. No, that's not the problem. The problem is, you think that somehow you're lesser than your boss. You think that, oh my god, my boss is so special, putting people on pedestal. By the way, I have actually made an entire live event on this. You can go scroll the event section of my profile. You will find that I've like made an entire live event on how to speak like confidently with your seniors without putting them on a pedestal. So you can find it there. But anyway, coming back to the point, this is not a communication issue, this is a confidence issue. This is where you have an imbalanced power dynamic, where you think that the other person is so special, you put them above you, right? That's the problem. That is what causes you to enter into the survival mode. And when you enter into the survival mode, you forget things. Now, let's try to understand what are some causes of communication problems. So as I told you, communication issues are very direct. As I told you, that the language barriers, maybe you don't know the language. For example, if someone were to tell me that Rianshi, go to France and speak French, I would feel that they are stupid because I don't know French, right? So if I were to try to attempt French and fail at it, then my confidence may go down a little bit, so then I require practice. But if someone, let's say very accomplished, is coming in front of me and I feel bad about, like I feel small in front of them, I feel like, oh my god, what should I say, what should I say? It's not a communication problem. Yeah, that problem is a confidence problem. That is when I feel that I'm smaller than the other person, right? Now let's try to understand what are some causes of lack of confidence and communication. By the way, if you guys have any questions, you like feel free to send them to me. I do check them. Mm, I feel underconfident in front of people who know more than me. It's a classic example of not feeling, that you're enough, right? Tying your confidence with how much you know. It's a classic example of that. So that can also cause communication issues. Some people have that. Some people, when they encounter others who know more than them, they tend to go blank. They don't know how to speak to them. They suddenly feel that, oh my god, I'm not good enough, and xyz things. Now, coming back to what are some causes of lack of communication, sorry, lack of confident communication. The first is bullying. Now, what do I mean by this? So, this is a trend I have seen in a lot of people who I have helped overcome this problem. Is that so? One thing, if you don't know about me, if you're attending this live event for the very first time, I'm a trauma informed coach, which means that a tool that I use is inner child healing and past regression, which means that I take my clients in the past to heal traumas that they have been carrying in their body. What do I mean by this? So, the reason a lot of people are unable to actually move forward in their life, or they constantly face the same problem again and again, is because they're thinking it from their mind. When trauma lives in the body. So they have trauma, but they've not really released it. They keep going behind ticks and tricks and techniques and tips and stuff like that. So one thing that I've seen, that whenever I do past regression with a lot of my clients, is that we always find some or the other, this evidence of bullying, right? Either they were bullied by someone in their family, or they were bullied by the, school friends or someone in the school, or maybe by the teacher as well, that the teacher made fun of them in front of everyone or scolded them. So whatever, whenever I do this, we always find that there is a scared inner child inside of them, and every time they're going into speaking to someone who is, let's say, senior to them, the scared inner child comes out. right? So bullying tends to be a very big reason why some people struggle with communication a lot, because again, it's not about the communication, they become that same scared inner child. Another thing is again an extension of that is fearing authority figures. Now this is a very specific type of fear, wherein you have always been afraid of people who are in authority figures, so who are in authority, for example your managers, your bosses, board members, critical people. Another is let's say someone who is more socially popular than you, someone who's wealthier than you. Basically anyone who comes in front of you who has something more than you, you may start fearing them, or you may start feeling that, oh my god, I'm not good enough. So this is again related to bullying. But another thing that I've seen when it comes to fearing authority figures, that a lot of men and women who tend to fear authority figures had a father wound, which means that they did not share a good relationship with their father, which means that their father was either very aggressive, very dismissive, or a father who was very angry, very volatile. So they always felt very scared around their father. And this can also relate to mother as well, or can also relate to other authority figures in your life. Father wound is a very, very common one. So I'm mentioning that, but it can also be your mother. So basically, what tends to happen is that growing up, your relationship with authority figures has always been a fearful one, right? So you're always afraid of authority figures. So when that is the relationship you share, that is again living in your body as trauma, right? So you carry that, and because you carry that, every authority figure represents that trauma, wherein you fear that, oh my god, this person can insult me, this person can harm me, this person will get very angry, and I will not be able to do anything. So here logically you understand that obviously I'm 40 years old, nobody can actually overpower me or hit me. I think, yes, I'm back. I'm so sorry, there's like a lot of rain here, and suddenly the light has gone. So anyway, completing my topic, as I was saying, that when it comes to authority figures, even though logically these people understand that, yeah, of course, I'm 35, 40 years old, nobody can actually come and hit me or overpower me, or I will get fired. They understand, but they understand it intellectually. But where does the trauma live? Trauma lives in the body, right? And that is why it's so important to do trauma healing. It's so important to release the fear that you have in your body around authority figures, or around other people you think may bully you. Now, coming to the next fear is fearing failure excessively, right? So here the person is very afraid of failure. This could mean that they're always afraid, oh my god, I will lose my job. If I do this, I will lose my job. They're afraid that if I do this, my manager will not talk to me. He will not, give me a good appraisal. I will not make good money. Ultimately, I will have to lose my job. So when you have a lot of fear around failure, right, everything becomes like a chess game. You're thinking too much before speaking anything. And as a result, procrastination is also something you may experience, where, you know, you just cannot go and do things on time, because you always have to calculate everything. You're always calculating this and that, what will be the consequence of this and that, and yada yada. So because of this as well, it affects your communication, because you think that I have to rehearse something in my mind 5 or 10 times, because if I fail, that's it, right? So there's a very big fear of failure. You're always assuming the worst. The next is having low self confidence and self esteem. So this is pretty self explanatory. When you are someone who doesn't feel good about himself or herself, could be anything. Maybe you think you don't look good enough, maybe you think you're not smart enough, maybe you did not study from a premium institution, whatever your fears are. So in general, when your self esteem is very low, you may look for it in other people, right? You're always like seeking that from other people. You may give that responsibility to your boss, to your manager, and yada yada. And that is why such people find it very hard when there is a change in leadership as well. Let's say if your manager is changed, or your team members are changed, you may find it very difficult. Why? Because it feels like, oh my god, I have to prove myself to other people again, completely. And the next, which brings to the last point, is always trying to prove yourself. So when you are someone who always comes from the energy that I have something to prove, so communication will always be difficult because you can't speak your mind, right? Because you have to think 100 times, no? Is this right? Is this not right? Is this something that going to paint me in a bad picture? So when you're thinking so many times, obviously you're not going to be able to speak fluently. You will stammer, you will think 1,000 times, you will not be able to think on the spot. Now, coming to the last part, which is how do you actually build confident communication? How do you actually communicate confidently? The very first thing is grounding yourself. So I'm going to first tell you, you know, a couple of things that is something you can do right away. So first is grounding yourself. Now, what do I mean grounding yourself? So you must understand that when you are someone, let's say, who's just beginning your inner work, okay, someone who's just started to undergo coaching, you're someone who's just started to do their inner work, and the inner work has not reached to a point yet, but obviously you have meetings to go to, right? So you still, the level of anxiety is still there. When you know that you get anxious before speaking, do some breath work, take deep breaths. Wherever there is tightness in your body, take deep breaths there, ground yourself, and ground yourself by saying affirmations that I know what I want to say. People love to hear me. I exactly know the answer to all the questions I'm going to be asking. I know what I'm doing. I'm very good at my work. I don't have to worry about anything. Right? Could be any affirmations of your choice as well, but ground yourself. Whenever you're going into a meeting, take a few minutes to do some breath work. Take deep breaths into your body, allow yourself to relax and ground yourself. Now, the second is focusing on clarity over sophisticated language. What do I mean by this? Don't go into jargon, okay? So for example, somebody just commented that, mention this, mention that, write about this, write about that. It looks very nice on paper and maybe on resume when you're copying it, but when it comes to speaking in real life, always go with clarity over jargon, clarity over trying to sound fancy. The point of communication is that the other person should be able to understand what you're speaking about, not how fancy you are. This works great when you're in ninth or 10th standard, when you're trying to show off to your friends. In corporate, it doesn't work. People are only concerned with can you get the job done, right? And this is 10%, okay? So grounding yourself, practicing, what you want to speak beforehand, and allowing your body to be in a place where it's not anxious. That's 10%. You using clear and concise language over trying to be fancy is 10%. 80% of the work is building your confidence. Because again, there's a very interesting thing one of my clients asked me a while back. She asked me that, Rianshi, we don't have time to do breath work, all the time. Like I can do it maybe in the morning before entering into a meeting, but sometimes we have back to back meetings. How do I do breath work there? And that's when I said, exactly, you are right. You can't always do tools. So this is just something to rely on. This is just 10 to 20% of the work. Your goal should always be building natural confidence. And that is what I helped her develop as well. So you must understand that whatever tools you use, whatever jargon even you want to use, it's a crutch. Okay. It's something you can rely on, something you can use sometimes. But in real life, you can't sit in the, let's say you are in the conference room, can't close your eyes and start breathing for 15 minutes right there and then, right? That's not how it works. If I'm in the middle of a session and let's say my client has asked me something and I don't know the answer to, am I going to tell my client, okay, you know what, wait for 15 minutes, let me become non anxious? No, that's a tool to start with, but the ultimate work is always building inner self confidence, always building inner sense of safety. That is the only thing that's permanent. That is the only thing that will get you through any or every situation, right? And one more myth that I want to bust, okay, is why practicing and familiarity is not something you should be obsessed with. So a lot of people are very obsessed with practicing. Okay, they think that if they practice their presentations 100 times, they learn something by heart, They copy something from the internet, or they've gotten the resume written by some professional, and that's it, they'll get through their interviews and other things. Why I say to not rely on practice that much is because you have to understand that practice means that your body has become familiar with something. But you must understand that this is not school. Okay, you are a working professional and you are working in very real environments, and most of the time you are working where things are changing. Sometimes leadership will change, sometimes a problem that is very out of the blue that has come up, sometimes there is a personal issue that you have, right? Practice, the whole idea of practice is based on familiarity, that okay, your body has become familiar with something. But your body cannot practice everything, no. If let's say there is a certain situation that has come up and you have to do thinking on the spot, you have to answer something on the spot, and you have never practiced it, what is going to happen? Your body is going to feel, oh my god, I don't know what to do. That is why practice is also something that only takes you somewhere. Okay, if you have to give a monologue, if you have to, let's say, you have gotten 1 month or 1 week to practice something, or if nobody is going to ask you any question, yeah, that's good. But we are working in real world, right? So this is not school, this is not recital of your poem. So practice only takes you someplace. Always focus on building inner safety. You should be able to think on the spot, you should be able to be confidently give your answer, right? That is what you need to be focused on. That is what you need to be focusing on. I think I spoke so fast, I kind of screwed up the grammar. Okay. If you guys have any questions so far, you can type it. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes and then I have to take a leave. So I'll go then. All right, let's see. Okay, so far I have not gotten questions, just a lot of thank yous from you guys. So that's great. I hope the live was helpful, and take your time to watch it on your own time. I know it's a working day for most of you people, and whensoever you have any question whatsoever, just DM me and I will answer them to you. And furthermore, if you would like to book a one-on-one session with me, just DM me coaching and I'll send you the link, or you can just find my TopMate link right there on my profile. And if you're interested in the bootcamp called Healing Childhood Trauma, again, just simply, DM me bootcamp. And another thing, if you are someone who loves the work that I do and wants to get into coaching yourself, I am also coming up with a life coach training program and certification coming month. And right now I'm doing live community sessions inside my community, called the Empowered Coach community. So if you're someone who's interested in becoming a life coach yourself, you can again just DM me life coach and we can have a conversation. And I will see you hopefully this week, if not coming week. Thank you so much for joining, everyone.